Let me ask you something difficult, something that might sting. What if everything you've ever worked for, every late night, every sacrifice, every drop of sweat vanished the moment your paycheck stopped? What if after years of loyalty, promotion after promotion, flying first class, living the life most only dream of, you walked away, only to realize you never really built anything real? That's the silent scream behind Robert Kiyosaki's warning, and the truth is, most people don't hear it until it's too late. Kiyosaki not said something that chills the soul. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And let that haunt you for a second. Because millions of people are sprinting on a treadmill called career. They run faster, they earn more, they get applause, they move into luxury homes, drive elegant cars, their kids attend elite schools. But when that paycheck stops by choice or by force, everything comes crashing down because they were only rich as long as the salary kept flowing. No passive income, no backup plan, no second engine. When that flow ends, so does the lifestyle. Are you really interested in this truth? Then go ahead, comment below. I will be the first trillionaire in my family. Right. Once I see it, I'll give it a heart. And if you believe more people should hear this, hit the like button and subscribe. It takes 1 second and helps us share powerful stories with you now that you're with us. Let's begin. Number 1. The salary illusion. Picture this: you work for a global titan, Walmart, Aramco, Chevron, Shell. Every month, like clockwork, money lands sweetly in your account. Your name is on the door. Business class is your normal. People admire you. Your parents brag about you at weddings, but suddenly you're out. Not because you chose to leave, but because time did. And when you walk away, the truth smacks you in the face. You were only wealthy as long as the company allowed it. That giant salary, just a stream, and when it dries up, the illusion disappears. There are no dividends hitting your inbox, no rental income easing your stress, no side hustle humming quietly, just silence. That's the reality, and it's brutal. I knew a man who earned over $500 million in his career. He spent like the river would never run dry, but when it did, he was unprepared. All that money, but no system to make it grow without him. You see, I've always said, turn your active income into passive income. Sounds too simple, right? That's why people ignore it. Active income demands your time, your presence. Passive income, it doesn't care if you're asleep or halfway. Cross the world until you figure out how to shift from working for money to money working for you. Wealth will always be a ghost. Let me share something that changed me forever. Your job is temporary. Your income is a test. If you pass it, you buy freedom. If you fail, you're trapped forever, running until you collapse. Go to the comments and write, "Active income alone doesn't build wealth." True freedom begins when I convert it into passive income. I'll know you're serious when I see it. I'll give you a heart. Now let's continue. Number 2, passive income, your only real insurance when you're young and healthy. Passive income feels optional, something for YouTubers, nomads. But the moment your paycheck disappears, it becomes oxygen. I used to believe my fancy job was security, but I was wrong. Robert Kiyosaki saw through the illusion early. A big salary is not wealth, cash flow is. Imagine this. Every month, you take just 20% of what you earn and buy something that earns even when you don't. Stocks, real estate, an online business. A book that sells itself. That's how a quiet new salary is born. One that doesn't need you, doesn't care if you're sick, doesn't vanish when your job does. Kiyosaki owns hundreds of businesses, not because he loves chaos, but because he loves income that never sleeps. That's real wealth, not money you earn. Money you grow? Let's talk about that genius line. It's not your salary that saves you. It's what your salary builds when you're not looking. Your salary is like daylight. It gives life, but it doesn't last forever. So while it's still shining, ask yourself, what am I building? Shoes, cars, phones, or assets that work when I can't? The truth. Most people inflate their lifestyle. Instead of investing in their future, they wake up too late. The job is gone, the lifestyle over, and the regret suffocating. Let's be brutally honest. How much money do you make without moving a muscle? How long could you survive if your income stopped tomorrow? What is your money doing right now? Sleeping or building your future? The clock is ticking, and one day you will stop working by choice or by force. But will your income stop too? Number 3. The one rule Robert Kiyosaki lived by. Ever had so much money coming in, you felt invincible? Paychecks dropping like clockwork. Clients paying early. Maybe even a thriving side hustle. Feels like heaven, doesn't it? But here's the lie. Income is not wealth. Wealth is what stays when income stops. Most people fail this test. They spend big when times are good, but they never prepare for when times aren't. Robert Kiyosaki, he understood something deeper. The secret isn't just making money, it's protecting your future while things are still good, like the story of Joseph. When Pharaoh dreamed of 7 fat cows and 7 starving ones, Joseph didn't wait. He saved during the feast to survive the famine. 7 fat cows, followed by 7 thin, starving ones. A haunting vision. But Joseph knew what it meant. A storm was coming. 7 years of overflowing abundance. And then 7 years of brutal, unforgiving famine. And what did Pharaoh do? He didn't laugh. He didn't argue. He listened. He trusted Joseph's warning and filled his storehouses with grain while the skies were still blue. It's because the dark clouds were already on their way. Now pause. Ask yourself something uncomfortable. When you got that promotion, did you humble yourself and prepare? Or did you upgrade your lifestyle like abundance would last forever? When your business exploded with profits, did you save some in silence? Or celebrate like every day was Christmas? Most of us live like the fat cows. We'll always be there. But life, like nature, comes in seasons. Abundance is a visitor, not a tenant. Now go to the comments and type this. I will save and invest wisely during my season of abundance. When I see it, I'll know you're not just a dreamer. You're wise. I'll give you a heart. Done? Good. Let's continue. Many small business owners deceive themselves. They say, I've got 20 clients. I'm safe. I'm diversified. But ask them where most of their income comes from and they'll admit, one client brings in 80% of our revenue. Sound familiar? This isn't safety. This is standing on a trap. It looks like a staircase till the ground gives way. Because the moment that one client walks, it's not just a cut, it's a hemorrhage. Your business doesn't wobble. It bleeds. Robert Kiyosaki doesn't scatter his eggs in one basket. He places them in solid, strategic baskets. And then he watches them like a hawk. If 80% of your income flows from one stream, you're not free. You're dependent. And dependency is dangerous. Here's a cold truth. Your income will stop someday. Your expenses won't. Ever taken a vacation from spending? Even when you're jobless, bills still knock. Even when you die, they knock harder. Yes, even on your last breath, expenses live on. Mortuaries don't do charity. Coffins aren't free, and funerals. They're luxurious tragedies. You'll be gone. But your costs? They'll still be alive and thriving. So ask yourself, are you building a financial engine that survives beyond your paychecks? Or are you cruising on something with an expiration date? Now listen closely. Your salary is a test. Are you passing it or failing miserably? Robert Kiyosaki says it best. The job is a season. The money is a test. Let that echo in your soul. Your salary isn't a reward, it's a test. Pass it and you buy your freedom. Fail it, and you sentence yourself to labor until your legs give out. Pass it, and retirement becomes a choice. Fail it, and work becomes your life sentence. Let me tell you about a dear friend. She worked tirelessly for years. Earned well, but she spent like the sun would never set. Now she's in her 70s, still consulting. Not because she loves it, but because she must. This is the trap.
High income breeds false confidence until
one day it vanishes. Now go to the comments and type this. Your income will stop one day, your expenses will not. I see it, I'll know you're serious. I'll give you a heart. Done. Let's keep going. Warren Buffett, the billionaire. Of billionaires, still lives in the modest house he bought in 1958. He could buy any mansion in the world, but he doesn't single quotes. Why? Because he learned one rule that changed his life forever. Live to below now, so you can live 10 above later. This isn't minimalism. It's financial strategy. Live beneath your means, not because you're broke, but because one day your income stops. You won't be. You've heard of delayed gratification, but here's the truth. It's not just a virtue. It's a wealth system. The quiet superpower behind early retirements, peaceful living, and unshakable legacies. Most tests in life give you one shot, but this one can win on purpose. Cheat the system by being wise. Save when it feels like you don't need to. Invest. When it feels uncomfortable, budget like you're broke, even when you're not. This isn't about being stingy. It's about being prepared. Because when you see a 60-year-old juggling 2 jobs with no retirement in sight, you're not looking at laziness. You're staring at the cost of failing a test they never even knew they were taking. So what's the lesson? Warren Buffett's wisdom isn't just about money. It's about how to think, how to live, how to face the future with humility. Life moves in chapters. You don't know when the next one begins, so ask yourself, if your income stopped today, how long could you keep your current lifestyle? Are you passing the test? Or do you need to rewrite your story? Start now. Live with intention, because one day your money must work harder than you do. And never forget, live 2 levels below today, so tomorrow you can rise 10 levels higher with peace, freedom, and dignity. Number 5. Is poverty a habit? Strange, painful, and uncomfortable truth? Let's face it, being poor doesn't just hurt your wallet. It stabs at your spirit, slowly shreds your confidence, eats away at your dignity, and buries your dreams beneath a mountain of shame. Poverty isn't just about lacking money. It's about losing hope. And while some people try to romanticize the struggle as if suffering is noble, you have to ask, is this really God's plan? Robert Kiyosaki doesn't think so. And honestly, neither do I. Because if being poor was holy, then why does it feel like drowning with no one reaching out to save you? Why does it crush your self-worth and trap you in a life where you're begging scraps from systems that were never built to let you escape? There's a game being played in the world right now, deadly game, and most people don't even realize. They're the pawns. There's the game of the wealthy. And then there's the illusion sold to the rest of us, the rich. They don't follow the rules taught in school. They never did. And the moment you open your eyes to that truth, you're left staring into a terrifying reality. Kiyosaki laid it out with brutal clarity. Story of his 2 dads. One had a PhD, educated, respected, broke. The other, no degrees, no titles. But he knew the rules of wealth. The irony. His educated father, the one who followed the system, is the one Kiyosaki jokingly called a PhD. Poor, helpless, desperate, familiar. You've seen it, maybe. You are it. Overqualified, underpaid, confused how someone with half your education lives twice as well. So what's the problem? Let's rewind. Picture this. You're sitting in an accounting class, excited to learn how money works. But the teacher, though armed with degrees and credentials, has 0 real-world experience, never filed business taxes, never touched an investment. Yet here they are, molding minds, preaching outdated myths they call your house an asset, your car an asset, even your retirement plan. But let me ask you this. If something keeps draining your pockets every month, is that an asset? Kiyosaki says no. That's a liability. A real asset. Gives it doesn't take. Quietly deposits money into your life month after month. No drama, just results. That one shift in thinking. It can transform your future, but most never learn it. Why? Because school isn't designed to build wealth. It's designed to create workers in school. You're praised for memorizing, not for thinking. You're punished for failing. But in life, failure teaches. Mistakes build millionaires. In school, the smart kids are those who read fast, calculate faster, and color within the lines. But what about the rest of us? The dreamers, the C students, the ones who doodled in notebooks and asked too many questions. Why are we even learning this? Why don't they teach us about money? Kiyosaki was that kid, never the teacher's favorite. But he started noticing something odd though as students. They ended up working for the C students, and then came the revelation. There's more than one kind of intelligence. Howard Gardner proved it's at least 7 types. But schools only reward 2, verbal and mathematical. So, if you're brilliant at music, sorry. If you're gifted with your hands, tough luck. And if you understand people, especially yourself, that's nice. But it won't pass the test. What if schools actually trained us to master our minds instead of just memorizing? Outdated facts? Kiyosaki explains the brain in 3 parts. Left brain, logical, analytical. Good at reading and math. Right brain, creative, visual, musical, subconscious, primal, reactive, and scared. Now imagine you have a great idea, your logic says. Go for it. Your imagination lights up. But then, the subconscious steps in and whispers, "Not you. You'll fail. You're not good enough." And just like that, you freeze. Sound familiar? Maybe you wanted to start a business. Apply for that job. Ask for something better. But a whisper of fear held you hostage. That's your reptilian brain. Doing what it was built to do? Protect you. Not just from lions and tigers, but from success. Kiyosaki calls it going reptilian. The blood drains from your brain, and suddenly you're reacting instead of thinking. You panic. You freeze. You back away from greatness. And here's the hardest pill to swallow. You might be addicted to being poor, not because you love it, but because it's familiar in your brain. It loves the familiar, even when it hurts. Before you laugh it off, ask yourself, have you ever blown a great opportunity? Talked yourself out of success because it felt scary? Said maybe later, and watched the years pass by? That's not life. That's your subconscious calling the shots. Kiyosaki once joked about his own inner war. Inside were 2 voices, the stud who wants to hit the gym, and the fat boy who wants pancakes. Guess who wins? Yeah, pancakes funny until you realize your whole life might be run by that pancake-loving part of your brain that just wants comfort. So, how do we break free? We start with our words, because words become thoughts. Thoughts become actions. Actions form habits, and habits. They decide your wealth. Stop calling liabilities assets. Stop saying I can't. Start asking how can I? Stop blaming the system. Start learning the game. And most of all, stop listening to that voice that whispers, not you. Because you can build wealth. You can outrun the students. You can rewire your brain and win. But before anything changes, you have to win a silent war of battle inside your own mind. That's the first fight. The hardest one. So now it's your turn to pause and think deeply. Are you building assets that bring you money, or stacking up liabilities that take it away? Are you filling your mind with knowledge and courage, or letting your fears take control? Are you chasing someone else's dream of success, or creating your own path? Because here's the truth. The difference between being rich and being poor isn't always about how much money you have.
Sometimes it's only about how you think. And the best part? You have the power to change your thinking, starting now.
Right now, let's talk about something most people never question. Why the rich don't work for money. Why you shouldn't either.
Think about this. Why do we spend the best years of our lives chasing money instead of learning how to make
money work for us? You see, from the time we're little, we're trained to follow a script. Go to school, get good grades, find a safe job, work hard, buy a house, save a little, maybe retire by 65, then hope things don't fall apart. Sounds smart, right? But if that path really works, why are so many educated, hardworking people still broke, still struggling? Robert Kiyosaki, the man who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, tore up that script and showed the world a hidden truth, the truth the rich teach their kids behind closed doors. And no, it's not magic or secret societies. It's just a different kind of education. When Robert was just 9, He played Monopoly with his rich dad, but his dad didn't play to win Boardwalk or Park Place. He asked Robert, "Do you know the real lesson?" It wasn't just about buying property. It was about owning things asset that keep making you money even while you sleep. But what do schools teach us? They teach us to pass tests. They cheer for high GPAs, not for new ideas. They want us to memorize dates but never teach us how to read a bank statement. They care about credit scores, not financial intelligence. A credit score is just a gold star for being obedient. But tell me, does that gold star make you wealthy? Not even close. Now here's the part that stings. Robert says something bold, something most people don't want to hear. He says the ideas from the Communist Manifesto have already crept into America. In the 1930s, elite universities began planting seeds. By 2020, those seeds had grown into a system that started to crush the middle class. Sound like a conspiracy? Maybe. But let's look at facts. When Biden entered office, he canceled the Keystone XL pipeline. You may not care about pipelines, but they carry oil, and oil runs the world. Your food, your phone, your clothes, your rides, everything depends on it. And when oil gets expensive, everything else does too. And guess who suffers? The middle class. The people in the middle get squeezed. The hardest. Robert believes the middle class was never supposed to survive. And today, it's dying. The rich, they're getting richer. The poor stay poor, and the ones in the middle, crushed from both sides. Let's ask another painful question. What if the entire system was built to keep us working for money? Instead of mastering it. Most people live in what Robert calls the E quadrant, employee, or the S quadrant, self-employed. In both, you trade your time for money. If you stop working, your money stops too. And that's where taxes are the highest, hours are the longest, and the stress is endless. But the rich? They play a different game. They live in the B quadrant, business owner, and the I quadrant, investor. They build or buy assets that keep working 24/7. Their money earns money, even while they sleep. The rich don't say, "I work hard for my money." They say, "My money works hard for me." And guess what? The tax system, those confusing rules and numbers, it rewards people in the B and I quadrants. Why? Because they create jobs, they build homes, they take risks, they grow the economy. Now ask yourself this: why didn't school teach you any of this? They taught us algebra, not accounting. Taught history, but not how to buy land. They taught us science, but not how to build wealth. Robert started investing in gold way back in 1972, even when it was illegal to own it. Why? Because gold is real. It holds value. Today people chase Bitcoin and NFTs, but the lesson is still the same. Don't trust paper money. It can disappear. Now go to the comments and write this: don't rely on paper money. It owls know you're wise. And I'll give your comment a heart. Let's keep going. Robert didn't invest in oil stocks. He invested in actual oil wells, because oil wells give tax breaks. He bought real estate using debt, not bad debt like credit cards or student loans, but smart debt, debt that makes money. He built businesses not to work in them, but to own them. While others handled the day-to-day, he collected the cash flow. And here's something most people can't believe. Robert doesn't save money. He doesn't even invest in 401ks. Number 9. The brutal truth about the American dream. Most young people don't start at zero. They start in a deep, dark financial hole. They're buried in student loans before they even get their first paycheck. Then, they rush to buy a house, proudly calling it an asset, not knowing it's draining them. Next comes the car loan. Then the credit cards swiped like they're playing a game. This game has no winners by the time they think about investing. They dump their money into a 401k, a slow, blind gamble, throwing their future into Wall Street's hands and praying it doesn't all come crashing down when they're too old to start over. That's not wealth. It's a trap, a silent, legal heist of your dreams. So ask yourself, do you want to be another obedient, overworked pawn, or a free, bold builder of wealth? Will you spend 40 years building someone else's empire? Or will you use those same years to build your own? Kiyosaki's golden rule: the rich never work for money. They build assets. They create pipelines, not carry buckets. They don't chase paychecks, they chase cash flow. So where do you stand? Are you chasing money, or is money chasing you? The next time someone says go to school, get a job, save money, retire rich, smile politely. Then go out and buy a rental property, launch a business, or invest in something real. Because this world doesn't reward blind obedience, it rewards those who understand the rules and play a far better game. Now tell me, are you ready to stop working for money and start making money work for you? Number 10. Why the rich don't work for money and why you're probably doing it all wrong. Let's begin with a painful truth. Most people will spend their entire lives slaving for money, only to end up broke, stressed, and scraping by. In retirement, if they're lucky enough to make it that far, why? Because they're stuck in the invisible trap Robert Kiyosaki calls the rat race. The script is familiar. Go to school, get good grades, get a job, work hard, save what you can, buy a house, retire quietly. Sounds responsible, right? Safe? Maybe smart? Not even close. Wealth-building. Absolutely not. Let me take you back. Imagine a young boy raising his hand in class and asking his teacher, "Why don't we learn about money in school?" The teacher stares, then replies, "That's not part of the curriculum." That boy was Robert Kiyosaki. And like him, most of us never stood a chance. We weren't trained to understand money. We were conditioned to be employees. Kiyosaki didn't chase a paycheck. He didn't chase long hours and soul-crushing stress. He chased freedom. He chased passive income, money that works while he sleeps, rental income, royalties, business cash flow, assets that paid him, whether he was at the beach or sipping coffee at home. So I ask you, are you working hard for money? Or is your money quietly working hard for you? Think back to school. We memorized the periodic table, but never learned how inflation quietly destroys your savings. We found square roots, but never learned how to read a financial statement. Why? Because the system wasn't designed to make you rich. It was designed to make you compliant. We were taught that earned income trading time for money was honorable. But here's the twist. The harder you work for money, the more they take in taxes. Robert once said, if you know what you're doing, you can legally pay 0% in taxes. Sounds impossible? It's not. The wealthy use laws designed to reward job creators, investors, and visionaries. They're the engine of the economy and the tax system treats them as such. But employees, the 9-to-5 grinders, they carry the burden. They were never taught the real game, only how to play a small, safe role in someone else's success story. Number 11. The big lie about debt. We've been brainwashed to believe debt is evil, that it's a trap to get out of debt. They shout. But let's break that lie open. Bad debt is buying things that lose value the second you touch them. Cars, clothes, overpriced status symbols. Good debt. That's a weapon. You borrow money to buy assets, real estate, businesses, investments, things that grow in value and pay you every single month. Robert Kiyosaki once borrowed $300 million to buy real estate. Most people would faint at that number. But here's the twist: that real estate paid him monthly, appreciated in value, and the interest. It was tax deductible. That's wealth strategy, not financial suicide. Meanwhile, others were told, stay out of debt, save what you can, and pray your pension survives. But by the time retirement arrives, many realize they've been lied to. Want to hear a terrifying truth? Banks don't need your savings. They need your ignorance. When you deposit $1 in the bank, they can legally lend out $10 of it. It's called fractional reserve banking. They give you 1% in interest, if you're lucky, and loan your money out at 7%, 8%, even more. And then they tax your 1%. The bank gets rich, you get crumbs. You think you're saving, but the bank is using your money to build empires. So the next time someone says, save your money, smile, then go invest it instead. Because the rich don't fear debt. They don't save dollars that are constantly losing value. They think differently, and that's why they win. They don't chase after jobs. They hunt for opportunity because they know something most people don't. Money isn't real. It's just an idea, a belief, a game. And if you learn the game, you win. But first, you've got to ask yourself some hard questions. Why do I work like a machine and still feel broke? Why didn't school ever teach me how money really works? Why am I told to save money, when they're printing it like toilet paper? Why do I run from debt when the rich use it to build empires? You've been hypnotized every time you hear, get a good job, save for retirement, buy a house, stay out of debt, You're hearing the whispers of a system designed to keep you poor. But here's the twist. You can break free. Robert Kiyosaki did. So did millions who stopped slaving for money, and made money serve them instead. So tell me, will you keep playing the old game, hoping for a new result? Or will you wake up and learn the new rules of money before it's too late? Number 12, why working hard isn't enough anymore. The truth about money that no one dares to tell you. Let's get one thing straight. Just because you work hard doesn't mean you'll be rich. If that were true, construction workers and nurses would be billionaires. But they're not. Some of the hardest working people on earth are drowning, living paycheck to paycheck, clutching that next salary like it's a lifeline. But deep down, they know it's not. Now picture that big house on the hill. Perfect lawn, shiny garage, a fat mortgage. Looks like success, right? But inside, money's leaking out like a busted pipe. Every month is award bills, stress, smiles. That cover anxiety. And while they suffer, the bank celebrates because you're making them. Rich, 3 kinds of income. Only one will set you free. There are 3 ways money can come to you, but most people are stuck on the worst one. Earned income, trading hours for dollars. Doctor, programmer, teacher, driver. You stop working, the money stops too. Then there's portfolio income. Buy low, sell high. Stocks, assets, it's better. But it depends on timing, and the tax man still eats a piece. But then there's the golden path, passive income. Money that flows in while you sleep. Rental checks, royalties, dividends, and the best part, it's the least taxed of all. You don't work for it, it works for you. Ask yourself, how many hours can you work in a day? Now ask, how many hours can your money work if you put it in the right place? It's the difference between surviving and thriving. Here's the cruel twist. Our schools. They teach us to memorize facts, to take tests, to be perfect little employees, but not how to handle money, not how to read a financial statement, not how taxes work, not how debt can build empires. Why? Because the system wasn't built to create owners. It was built to raise obedient workers. They still preach the same broken tune. Go to school, get a job, save money, stay out of debt. Sound familiar? That advice is from the industrial age. But we're living in the digital age, and people are following that outdated map. Right into a trap of student loans and retirement at age 70, if they're lucky. Here's a truth bomb. Why save money when the government can just print more of it? Inflation eats your savings like termites in wood, and you still think that dusty 401k will save you. We're living in a world of illusions. Fake money, not backed by gold. Fake assets, just overpriced hype. Fake teachers, giving financial advice when they're broke themselves. Let's be real. Would you take health advice from someone who's out of shape? Then why take money advice from someone who's living paycheck to paycheck? Even Warren Buffett, smart as he is, called Bitcoin rat poison. He's a stocks guy. He's never liked gold, real estate, or crypto. So should you follow his path? Maybe look at what real estate moguls and entrepreneurs are doing. That's your power. You get to choose your teacher. Let me take you back to Sunday school. I was 8, the teacher asked. I raised my hand, proud. Because they were rich, I said. Gold. Frankincense. Myrrh? Those aren't dollar store gifts. She didn't like that, said the love of money is the root of all evil. But I never forgot something. Those men were wise. Now, just because they had wealth, but because they sought out the best teacher, Jesus Christ. You grow when you learn from the right mentors. That lesson? Priceless. A doctor friend of mine was. Glowing, I finally made $1 million, he said. I asked, how much did you pay in taxes? $750,000, he sighed. That left him with $250,000. Still a win, right? But here's the twist. I also made $1 million that year, and I kept almost all of it. Why? Because I didn't trade hours for dollars. I built a business. I invested in real estate. I used debt. I used the tax code. Legally, I played the game, and played it smart. You were raised to fear debt like a monster. But the wealthy, they use it like a weapon. I borrow from the bank, buy property, collect rent, and write off the interest. The bank's happy, I'm happy. That's the game. Meanwhile, the middle class is crushed by bad debt, credit cards, car loans, massive mortgages. The rich use debt to grow, the poor use debt to survive. Now pause. Go to the comments. Type this. The rich use debt to grow, the poor use debt to survive. When I see that, I'll know you're awake, you're listening, and I'll give your comment. A. Heart, now ask yourself this. Is your debt making you rich or burying you alive? When a government keeps printing more and more money, it's called destroying the value of the money. The Romans did it long ago, and their great empire fell apart. In 1964, America started doing the same, and it's been getting worse ever since. You've probably seen it with your own eyes. Gas is expensive. Food prices keep rising. Rent is sky high. But your salary? It stays the same. So what do rich people do? They don't save money, they save value. They buy gold, silver, Bitcoin, and real estate. Not because they're cool, but because they protect their money from becoming worthless. Let me ask you, what game are you really playing? The truth is hard to hear. There are two money games happening in America. One is for regular people. Work hard, pay taxes, try to save, pray it works out. The other is for the rich. Use money, debt, and taxes in a smart way. That's why I'm sharing this with you, so you can make smart choices and start playing the same game rich people play. If this message makes sense to you, like this video and share it with someone you care about. Together, we can spread knowledge that helps people climb out of poverty. Now think about this. Are you working for money, or is money working for you? Are you listening to people who are broke, or those who have real wealth? Are you stuck in the old game, or learning the new one? The decision is hard, but it's yours. Because true freedom doesn't come from working harder, it comes from thinking smarter. Oh, and if you're enjoying this so far, just type "I want more" in the comments. So that way I'll know to make more videos like this for you. Let me tell you something that's going to hurt a little. Are you counting on the government to rescue you? Don't. If you lost your job tomorrow, or your savings disappeared, or the economy collapsed, would you be okay? Not just fine. Would you still pay rent? Would you still have money coming in? Or would you be like millions, standing in line, begging for help that may never come? Let me tell you a story. I had a friend, let's call him Ted. His father worked for the CIA. He served with pride. But one day he vanished. Gone. No body. No answers. And with no proof, he was dead. The government refused to help. No money. No pension. Nothing. Ted's family went from safe to shattered dash overnight. Now, my father wasn't a spy. Just as bold, he ran for governor of Hawaii, and he lost. Didn't just lose an election, he lost everything. His job, his paycheck, his pension. And suddenly, we were just like Ted's family, watching our lives fall apart. We weren't victims of war. We were victims of a system that didn't care. And that pain lit a fire inside me. Fire that never went out. People say, trust the government. Really? Have you watched the news? One day it's Donald cracking jokes. The next, Bernie pointing fingers like a teacher on too much coffee. Then it's Pocahontas, Comrade Sanders, and Mayor what's his name? It's like Netflix, and The news had a baby and it's a circus. But this isn't about politics. It's about you. If your whole plan depends on who's president, you're already in danger. No leader is coming to save you. I don't wait for the White House to tell me what to do. Why? Because wealth doesn't depend on who's in charge. It depends on who owns real assets. When the economy crashes, the rich don't panic, they go shopping. Go comment this right now. Real wealth isn't about who holds office. It's about who holds assets. When I see your comment, I'll know. You understand, Dan? I'll give you a heart. Now let's keep going. Here's what I do. I don't count on stocks. I own businesses. I invest in apartments because people always need homes. I own oil wells because people will keep driving and heating their homes. My money is safe, even when the world is falling apart. So when things get ugly, I don't hide. I invest. But this journey started with a question that shattered my world. It was 1981. I was a young student, learning from one of the smartest men alive, Dr. R. Buckminster Fuller. Ever heard of the geodesic dome? He made that. He was a hero to smart people everywhere. One day he looked me straight in the eyes and asked, "What's your life's purpose, son?" With a proud smile, I answered, "To make a lot of money." Big mistake. He ripped into me in front of everyone. "What a waste of a good brain," he said. Imagine that. The smartest man in the room just called you trash. I wanted to yell back, but everyone told me to be quiet. Then he asked something that changed my life. Stop asking what you want. Ask what God wants done. Think about that. Most people chase money, fame, comfort. But what if your true purpose isn't about you? What if it's about helping others? What if money is just the reward for solving big problems? That one question, what does God want done, stayed with me. It became the seed for my book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And for over 25 years, that book has been changing lives, just like it changed mine. Here's a question that might make you uncomfortable. Are you ready for the next financial disaster? I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to wake you up. Most people think a depression looks one way, like the Great Depression, prices crash. People lose homes, jobs vanish, and suddenly every penny matters. Cash becomes king. Hold on to every dollar like it's gold. But while America was falling into that pit, Germany faced something even more terrifying. Their money didn't crash. It burned. Literally, people were throwing stacks of bills into the fireplace just to keep warm, because their money was worthless one morning. You could buy bread by night. That same money couldn't even buy crumbs. So ask yourself this. What if the next crash isn't a fall, but a fire? What if your money doesn't shrink but disappears? If you're preparing for the wrong storm, you won't just struggle. You'll be wiped out. In a deflation crash, the savers lose. In hyperinflation, the people drowning in debt, they win. And right now, the US is printing money like there's no tomorrow. Trillions dash yes. Trillions being thrown into the economy, not from businesses, not from outside investors, but straight from the Federal Reserve, buying up debt from the government. Not just unusual. That's a blinking red siren. Warning, we're heading into unknown territory. So what should you do? Build your financial intelligence, not from some fancy school, but from real-life smarts. Street smarts, courage, grit. A heart that refuses to give up. I lost everything once. In the 80s, I thought my story was over, but that was just chapter 1. I rebuilt. I paid every cent I owed, and I came back stronger. Today, I see the same pain in people's eyes, fear, confusion, but I also see something powerful. Opportunity, massive opportunity. The banks, weak. The markets, shaky. The world, changing fast. But that's exactly when the biggest fortunes are made, because while the world sees crisis, the financially smart ones see discounted homes, cheap stocks, businesses begging to be bought. This is the sale of a lifetime. So here's the big one. What's your plan? Not your dream, not your hope, your actual plan. Do you have income that doesn't need a boss? Do you own something that still puts money in your pocket, even when the world shuts down? Or are you just watching the news, paralyzed, hoping someone saves you. Because I'll tell you a secret. The economy doesn't care, and the government, it's not coming but you, if you prepare smart. If you shift your mindset from what do I want to what do I need to become, then no matter what hits this world next, you will rise. Ask yourself, what is God trying to do through me? When will I stop waiting and start building? If this video sparked something inside you, I'd love to hear what you felt. Drop a comment below and say, I watched the video till the very end. I see it. I'll drop a heart just for you want to keep growing. Take these 3 steps to 1. Like this video. 2. Subscribe to our channel. 3. Turn on that notification bell that way. You'll never miss the powerful stories. In wealth building wisdom, we drop every week.